Hello, I am Angelica McGee with the Samuel Proctor Oral History Program. Today is May 19th, 2023, and I am interviewing.
Kimberly Mandenga.
First question, how old are you?
I am almost 22,
What gender do you identify as?
a female.
If you're comfortable with sharing, what sexuality do you identify as?
I mean, I'm a female and I'm a straight female.
What ethnic or racial identity do you identify with?
I am an African from Southern Africa. I am a Shona woman from Zimbabwe.
Could you explain? You said Shona. Could you spell that?
Shona. It's an ethnic tribe in Zimbabwe.
How long have you lived in Rome?
This year, it's almost 3 years now.
How often do you return home?
I go every year during the summer holidays.
Which area of Rome do you live?
Because I'm a student, I stay in the center of Rome, close to my school most of the times. So it's the center of Rome.
What is your highest educational background?
Now I am doing my bachelor's degree, so
In what?
in global humanities.
And what do you do for a living?
I am a student as of now. Sometimes I work part-time, but I'm a student.
And where were your parents born?
My parents are Zimbabwean. They were born in Zimbabwe, both of them.
And what do they do for a living?
My father is working in the military and my mom is a housewife.
What about your grandparents?
My grandparents, they're also Zimbabwean and they have retired to their rural homes in Zimbabwe.
Siblings?
But yes, I have two young brothers.
And they're still in Zimbabwe now?
Yeah, yes, they are still in Zimbabwe. The other one has just finished his high school and the other one is still 4 years, so he's still a toddler.
What is your relationship or marital status?
I'm single.
Do you have children?
No.
Would you say you are religious?
Yes, I am religious.
What is your religious affiliation?
I am a Christian, a Catholic to be exact.
Would you say you are political?
I believe that everyone is political with or without saying anything. So yes, I am political.
Would you like to share your political affiliation or views?
It depends on a certain situation, but I am a democratic.
Is there anything else you want to tell me about you as it relates to your identity?
For now, I think this is it.
What are some of your favorite childhood memories?
Oh, I cherish most the moments that I have with my cousins because of our culture. We get to spend time with our cousins, like our aunts, daughters, and sons. So those are some of my happy childhood memories where you just have to be children and enjoy as a whole without divisions or anything else. So yeah.
What, if any, Black cultural traditions do you practice from experience or have created for yourself?
For this one, I think I have a lot. Um, Even, for example, the kind of food that I still eat now, although I can say I have adopted some of the cultures here, I also still I'm quite connected to my roots and like the cultures that relate to my ethnicity. I can say that even the way I relate to people, elder people, and how I conduct myself, it's still related to my ethnicity because where I come from, no matter how old the person is, as long as they are older than you have to respect them. I mean, I understand that with culture differences, you can just say, for example, if it's a classmate or if someone that it's a friend, you can call each other by name. But because of culture, I am unable to do that even up to now because I feel like it's just not how I was raised to be. So I can't. So it's still part of like the Black identity that I still carry with me.
How do you express yourself? What do you consider to be your art forms?
I write most of the time. So I write poems or songs. It depends. It's a form of expression, like for art. I also try to also, for example, when it comes to the fact that I'm an African, I always try to show it. So, for example, even my dreadlocks, they are quite suggesting. If you look at my hairstyle, sometimes the way I dress, it's also, I think it's a form of art, a form of expression that points back to my roots, if I can say that.
Who are some of your favorite Afropean artists and why?
Well, I mean, do I have to bring names?
No. What brings you joy?
Oh, I like dancing. I like music. Even on a day that I'm sad or experiencing some sort of negative feeling, happy music, happy dancing. And also, I like flowers. I like spring. So, yeah, these are the things that bring me joy.
Is it difficult to find places to get your hair or nails done or buy makeup products?
Oh, yes, here it's a bit difficult. I mean, for hair, it's like you have to find those maybe African people who are able to do your our kind of hair, but it's also quite expensive because it's a limited profession. Like you don't get to find them everywhere. Also with the nails and with the makeup too, with the foundation. I mean, there are ways that you can compromise, but it's difficult to find a foundation that fits your skin color. You have to find maybe two and mix them to get the desired result. But I mean, yeah.
Is it difficult to find fellow Black folks in Rome to befriend?
Oh yes, I would say yes, it's difficult because you I think in my own personal experience, there are Black people, but we also don't have a big community like that uh, strong community. So it's like you can meet a Black person, but getting them to be a friend, being a close friend or something, is difficult unless you meet on certain groups, like maybe church groups, class groups, or something. Then maybe you get a chance to create conversation and get to the friendship level. But if it's like on the streets, it's because of the culture here, you don't have to be speaking to the person next to you. So you can actually acknowledge it's a Black person. Maybe a smile here and there, nodding of the head, but after that, that's it.
How does that feel?
Mhm. Now I'm also adopting this culture, so I'm used to it, but I feel like at first it was difficult because whenever you see a Black person, it's something that immediately you feel like you identify with them. So when I say, oh, hi, maybe exchange conversation and all. But now I'm also having like my mind is open to knowing that sometimes you can say, okay, this person is Black, but you have to consider that some of them are French speaking. You don't like, there's a language barrier. So you can always just send out a nice gesture, but it doesn't have to be your fault or anyone's fault that you're not able to talk. So, yeah.
What about cultural barriers?
Oh, yes, there are also cultural barriers, but I mean, with the culture, there's a there's a like there's a certain extent of knowing someone for you to get to know of the culture barriers, because when you don't know the person, you don't get to experience much, or when you're not close, you just meet now and then, but it has no impact or influence on you, even if you notice that maybe they were doing something different. It's different from saying they're my friend and then we decide that we want to go out sometimes maybe for a drink, and then you realize maybe their culture or their religion does not permit them to drink alcohol, or does not permit them to be in different kinds of places, so those are the other barriers that you can experience, but you can also experience them from people who are closely related to you.
How different is that from making friends back in Africa?
Well, I think for making friends in Africa, it's a fact that you take for granted when you're still there, but I feel like you relate to most of the things that they go through. You have maybe the same backgrounds, not entirely the same, but you understand the situations, the same language, the same probably religions. For example, where I'm from, people are not so diverse. Like, it's more of maybe people in one city are like the same kind of people, same interests. When you know that when it's summer, people are just going to be going to, maybe let's say we have this agricultural show thing. That's what you normally do. But as compared to when you move, you get to experience that what I do for maybe summer or when it starts to rain is different from what maybe you, for example, might want to, like your ideas of having a fun time in summer and my ideas are not the same. So these are the things that you get to experience from, like, the differences when you're in Africa and making friends, because here you don't get to have much I don't know, much diversity, like choices to say I can't be with this person because of one wrong thing that we don't agree with.
Do you have any day-to-day experiences related to your treatment as a Black person in Rome that you would like to share, good or bad?
I mean, yes, of course, because every day I'm going to school. Most of them are school experiences. I would like to say they're nice experiences, like most of them. I have been in classes or where there are Italian speaking people, and with the language here, it's a big thing that someone is actually trying to speak English with you or trying to understand you from, you know, when you're speaking in English. It's a big deal and it's a big thing. So I would say that's also a nice gesture. My course and my classmates are also quite inclusive. So I've had a nice experience with picnics, parties, ceremonies, whatever that's going on. You can just get an invitation. It doesn't matter that you're black, you're white, you're yellow. Sometimes I would like to say that it's not based on race. So you get a chance to feel normal and have a normal life without being color conscious. So that's something that's really great that's going on here.
How do you see Black joy as resistance?
I mean, it, I think it's resistance in the sense that you get to own your happiness. You get to decide what makes you happy. No circumstance or anything can determine that. Like, it's all in the mind. For example, you can say that this is my heritage, this is me, and no one is going to take it away from me. So even if you're in a negative situation where, like, you can get maybe negative treatment, but you can also think of Black joy and like whatever makes you happy. You can just say, or even those small groups with Black people where they actually give each other like encouragement. They uh, help with uplifting the moods, uplifting the spirits of those around you. I think it's also helps, and I mean it's resisting to whatever negativity that surrounds you, and helps you like move forward. Yeah, I mean that's how legends are born. So we're always happy to go through this and look forward to a happier future.
When you think of Italian values, what comes to mind?
Ah, uh, Italian values. I think Italian food, Italian language, and like their families. I think that most of the most important Italian values, the ones that are strongly appreciated here, is their love for their food. It's a very big part of their culture, and you can't tell an Italian anything about their food, even in passing, or you know, like how it's a taboo to talk about pineapple on pizza here. It's like non-existent. You get in a fight instantly. And also you can talk about their love for their Italian language. They have so many praises for their language. They say it's a romantic language, it's a sweet language, it's, you know, it's important for them. So that's also part of their values. And also we can talk about their love for family. You see, these Italian families are big, and I think they are more closely related to each other. They value family so much that they're going to tell you that we're having a brunch with, even distant relatives that you don't think that they would even be considering, but yeah, they do. And also, they have love for their cities. They are like, we are preserving, you know, our historical ruins, like our historical um, buildings. So they have love for their cities. For example, even here in Rome, they call it the Eternal City. So that means, I mean, it's from the way that even the ancient Romans used to believe that no matter what happens, Rome will live on forever. And that's where they got the Eternal City, like the message from. So even now, they try to keep it in its former way, like they don't renovate it much to keep its former glory and everything because they believe it's eternal. So yeah, I think.
Are you proud to live in Italy or Rome?
Oh yes, I'm really proud. I think it's a very good experience, and I've had a very great chance to just come and experience it. And while studying, I also get to live like the Italian dream. I get to learn the Italian language, although not so easy, but yeah, experience the Italian cultures, get to see the nice scenery and, the nice cities in Italy. So I think it's a really great experience and I'll forever cherish it.
Do your race, ethnicity, gender, and sexuality feel present to you in day to day experiences?
Yeah, I mean, not day to day per se, but at some point you get to experience like you get to be reminded that about your ethnicity or your race or something. It's just like sometimes it comes, not every day, not all the time, but it's something that you can remember. For example, you get into a supermarket, you see someone, and also, with the whole thing, like for example, I am not like what's the word? I'm thinking of the word. I am not against any form of sexuality, but I am also a straight woman. So, you can get someone hitting on you or making passes at you, but also you are not interested. So, it's something that gives you like the mental realization that, okay, so I mean, sometimes I forget, but we have this kind of diversities. And also, like, when you meet someone, I've had moments, of course, not so nice, but yeah, like, about the ethnicity. Someone can just say, because you're black and also the other person is black, they can maybe assume that you're from the same country or you speak the same language, those kind of things. Those are some of the things that can happen any day, not all days, but it can happen. So,
Have you experienced any marginalization or discrimination in Rome?
I mean, I had an experience once during COVID, but yeah, I think it was, I can't say discrimination exactly, but it was more of the rude awakening of language barriers that, you know, I had to take my vaccination, my first COVID vaccination, and I did not know how to express it in Italian. And the officer who was in charge of the whole process, like who was taking people inside the hospital for the shots, he was rude to me and he could not help me that day. Of course, I managed to get help from one of the people who wanted to get uh, also the injection. So for me, that time it seemed like maybe they're discriminating me because of my color, maybe, or maybe because I'm not able to speak language, but I felt speak the language, but I felt like some sort of negative thing that happened also. But it was only once that I was subjected to this, so it's not so bad.
Do you feel comfortable sharing about like people touching you or any interactions that you've had like in the classroom?
Oh yes, I mean, yes. Apparently, people are curious, and I don't know if it's maybe the lack of exposure. Some people have not had like a one-on-one experience with a black person before. So I've had, like, when I wear my extensions, like the long hair, I have a lot of people asking me if it's my hair or it's fake or whatever. But then I also have other people, like, you can be in some place, maybe a bus or something, and then you can feel someone touching your hair. It's uncomfortable and really, really not a nice feeling, but I can say that it happens. I've also had incidences where people would like to touch your skin just to feel it. uh, I mean, I don't know, but maybe people assume that skin texture is different because of color, but I've had it more than once and on different occasions where people can just, I mean, of course, maybe it's curiosity, but I also feel it's uncomfortable for a black person to be subjected to this kind of treatment.
What does it mean for you to be a Black person living in Italy or Rome?
Well, for me, it means a whole lot of things. Um, it has a lot of meaning. I mean, it means that I get to experience how the Italians or maybe the Romans feel about Black people and how I like Black people are being treated in a global, like a different space where you are different. It also makes me feel how it feels to be different in a situation, in a setup where you're like probably, let's say, three people out of 200 in a certain group, or maybe in a classroom when you're like one black person out of maybe 20, 18 students who are white. It's a feeling that I get to experience every day, day to day. For example, even where I stay right now, I whenever I move from a place and I have to find a new place to stay. I always get this stairs like when I want, like I'm unlocking a door to get into an apartment. Of course, until people get familiar with your face, that you stay there, they get comfortable. But at first, you feel like they are being, I don't know, maybe trying to push some negative thoughts or something towards you. Get into a supermarket, you get the treatment that maybe you're doing something wrong. Of course, when you're staying there, eventually they'll get to know you. They get to know that, okay, this is a regular person, they stay here. But, you know, these are some of the awakenings that you get to experience in um in a wide setup here in Italy, of course, and also these are things that I had no idea of 3 4 years ago when I was still in Zimbabwe. I Because everyone looks the same, everyone looks like you, so you don't even think that this is happening somewhere, this is happening to someone else. But because you experience it, you're more aware of how these things go and how people react to difference. So, yeah, this is some of the experiences.
What are some ways in which you blend your Blackness with your European or Italianness?
I think that now I can say that it's quite visible, even when I get to spend time with my family. For example, when I go back home, I can say that I have been, you know, having a some sort of a mixture between the blackness and the Europeanness, because now I can't identify as like an average black person or an average African person, but I also can't identify as an average black person who was like a black European person. Okay. So I guess I'm still in the transition. I'm still in between. I have other cultures or other habits that I have dropped from my culture, and I have also other habits that I have picked from being around here. Although maybe some of them you pick them unknowingly or subconsciously, start doing things that different from what you had to experience when growing up. So yeah, I think now it's starting to show, because maybe even the simplest of things, now I drink coffee all the time, and where we come from, what we even call coffee and what the Italians call coffee is a bit different. But now I drink coffee like a lot of times. That can show that like the impact of the European culture has had on me. That's something that I picked up unknowingly. I just started drinking it more often, but I only got to realize it when I went back home and my mother was asking, "What? So now you've been drinking?" Because before I did not even drink tea. So yeah, I mean, it's also part of, yeah.
Do you currently feel more Black, more European, or neither?
Now I think I feel more black.
How do you think Italians view Black men and women?
I think de- depends, but now because of getting more education and everything, uh, they are starting to be more and more open and what's the word? And like they understand that there is diversity. They Black people are also people. They're also human, and they are different kinds of people, just like they're different kind of Italian people or white people. It's normal to find a bad person, a good person, an intelligent person, someone who's like every other nation, every other race. So I think that coming to that realization, it's a slow process, but it's a short process. So it's happening.
What makes you feel the freest?
Uh, I don't know how to express it, but I feel more free when I get to just have some time where I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to like a moment of peace. Okay, for this period, I think my free episode, the only thing that's coming to my mind is when I'm done with my exams, then that's when I'll be my freest. So that's just waking up, having a cup of coffee, and not worrying about anything else.
Do you think you fit into Italy's beauty standards? Why or why not?
I think no, because the Italian beauty standards are more fixed on like slim and tall and slim mostly. That's what they call like their beauty standards. So even the Italian women, they're always trying to like lose weight, watch their weight, and be slim because, I mean, they are known even world over for being with the hot people, like the attractive people. So want the model figures. Even the men also, they want to look some type of way to identify and also keep the Italian culture alive, their like culture.
What do you want people to know about the Black experience in Rome? What makes you appreciate it, and what would you change?
Well, I want people to be aware that it's not a bad experience. It's not always a cup of tea, but I mean, sometimes it's good. You get to have, for me, for example, I found a really supporting system where people can help you when you need help, either school related or even home related. And I found a friend in my class. She's part of a very huge movement. She's Italian, but she's really doing a lot of help in making sure that the international students are comfortable. So we can also say that in as much as there are difficulties, they're also very nice people who can help you manage. But there are also many problems that you can face especially when you're still new, because you have to have at least a basic knowledge of the language. You also have to experience like some other delays, like the Italian paperwork is not something that you can expect from here, but it's really slow to get your papers and everything. So it's also one of the experiences, but in general, it's more good than bad. So yeah,
Is there anything else you'd like to add in general?
nah, I mean, no, it's been really nice having this interview and also having to spread some of our personal experiences in Europe and talking about the good experiences, the mood lifters, and also just spreading good vibes. I thank you for this interview.
Thank you.